So I'm very queer, and I really like video games. Some might call me a gamer. E3 just came around this past weekend, and I've been super stoked for it. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a giant convention where a bunch of big gaming companies come out with all this new content and show trailers and previews and kind of sneak peeks at whatever they might be working on. It's kind of like Christmas for people who like video games. It's a bit of a holiday. Now, I am no expert when it comes to video games. I'm a bit of a casual gamer, but I really do enjoy them. And I know there's a lot of great post-E3 content to be watching right now. But I wanted to touch on kind of a different aspect of it. So rather than doing a recap or maybe my favorites or delving into theories about some of the new games coming out, I wanted to talk about the diversity in this year's E3. And I'm sure this video will get some flack. I know there are some gamers who hate talking about representation and diversity and think social justice warriors are destroying gaming and all this other stuff. I wholeheartedly and completely disagree, and I'll get into that more kind of at the end of the video. But first, I just wanted to talk about some of the stuff that stood out to me, both positive and negative. The big one, the one I think a lot of people have been talking about when it comes to diversity, is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, the first Assassin's Creed came out in 2007, and here we are, it's 2018, and you can finally, for the first time ever, decide to play as a man or a woman. And I know there are past iterations where you could play as both a man and a woman, but you would kind of switch back and forth, and somewhere you would play between sort of a cast of characters. But this is the first time where you, as the player, can decide who you would like to be. Long time coming, but I'm still very excited for it, especially because there will be romance options, and those romance options will not be swayed or changed based on whether you're playing a man or a woman. So you could be gay or straight or bi or whatever. You can kind of just romance whoever you want, which is super cool. Assassin's Creed has been saying that they are really embracing the RPG aspect of their game. I've been just saying that they're going full BioWare, and as a big BioWare fan, that makes me really excited. I used to like these games a lot, have not played them in many years because they got just a little bit too repetitive for me, but this I think is going to bring me back. The other big diversity piece that's being talked about is the beginning of Sony's press conference. They debuted The Last of Us Part 2, starting off with a kiss between Ellie and another lady, which is super exciting. There was a little bit of controversy about Disney potentially censoring the kiss on their channel because they were streaming E3. They claim, and I think it makes perfect sense, they were actually trying to censor the cut after the kiss, where Ellie stabs somebody in the throat, because it's Disney and they have to kind of like take some of the violence down, which must have been really difficult to do for a conference like this. So they did show the first half of the kiss. I think they just cut it a little bit early to make sure they missed the violence part, which is actually, that is one piece that's been a little bit interesting to me. I did watch the gameplay footage, and I know there's been a lot of people talking about how incredibly violent it is, which it is. I mean, it's really intense and dark and freaky, but not all that much more than things we've seen in other games and seen before. And I kind of wonder how much a female protagonist has to do with people being extra disturbed by the violence in this game, because it's not like it's something we've never seen before. That's just been kind of sticking in the back of my head, and I've been thinking about that a little bit. Just some food for thought. There's some smaller stuff. I didn't watch all of Nintendo's conference, but apparently you can play as male or female versions of certain characters in the new Smash, including Pikachu. I guess if you play as female Pikachu, you get a little heart at the end of the tail. I mean, I guess that's kind of cool. It's not, revolutionizing diversity in gaming by any means, but it's interesting. It's a choice, obviously, that Nintendo made, so that's kind of cool. It is kind of a nice detail to add, especially considering a lot of the major Nintendo characters are men. It gives a little more option, a little more leeway, so that's nice. For Honor had an awesome trailer with this, like, Joan of Arc-esque type character walking through a slow motion battlefield, like super badass. Definitely did not like objectify her in any way. She's a very clear, like strong character, so that was really cool. Other highlights of note, Gears of War is coming out with a game with a female protagonist, which is pretty awesome. We also had some gameplay for the new Tomb Raider game, and that franchise seems to be steadily learning from the mistakes of its past and not so recent past, so we'll see how that goes. As I mentioned before, I would not be surprised if this video gets a lot of flack or a few dislikes because of the topic I'm covering. I hear a lot of claims and arguments that focusing on representation actually takes away from the quality of the game itself. And I just don't think that's true. I talk about a lot of art on this channel, and a lot of film and things of that nature, and to me, gaming isn't art. I think calling it any less than that would be a disservice. So much work, time, energy, collaboration, problem solving, creativity, all different factors that go into artwork go into gaming. And I think we're at a place right now where gaming is still struggling to be taken as seriously as it could be, whether it's as a sport, which we see with esports and various other areas, or as an art form and as a creative outlet. If I can transfer any of my knowledge about film, which is my personal field, over to gaming, it's that every decision made matters. I mean, especially when you're making these incredibly detailed and saturated worlds and characters and stories. Every little detail is taken into account. And so I think if gaming is going to be taken seriously, I think all of those decisions need to be looked at very critically. Whether that is the technical form of what makes gameplay enjoyable and compelling, the story form, lighting, color, design, and representation. Gaming is becoming very quickly less of a hobby and more of kind of a form of mainstream media. It has an impact on communities and cultures and ways that we perceive the world. And so I think it's important to talk about what that means and how that's being navigated. And to those who say that taking representation too much into account or focusing on it too much dilutes the quality of the game, I would say take a look at some of the Game of the Year awards over the past few years and some of the well-recognized video games. I'm kind of cherry picking, I know, I'm aware, but if you look at Dragon Age Inquisition, BioShock, Mass Effect, Overwatch, The Last of Us, Portal 2. These are games that are doing pretty decent in the representation department, and I think that is linked to the creativity and ingenuity of these games. I mean, come on, the grizzled white guy with a gun has been explored a lot in video games. It's being done over and over and over again. It's kind of being overdone. You bring in new characters, new perspectives, new ideas, and suddenly you have new possibilities of games, worlds, mechanics, the way characters interact with each other. Opening up your pool of characters and stories unlocks better and newer gaming. I don't think that's something to shy away from. I don't think that's something to stifle or push down. And while E3 wasn't revolutionary by any means as far as representation goes this year, it is still moving forward, slowly and surely. And I have full faith that in the years to come, we are going to see the way that positive, diverse, and inclusive representation is going to benefit gaming as a whole. So that is the video this week. Bit of a ramble. Sorry. I hope you enjoyed. My name is Connor O'Keefe. I make videos every Thursday-ish. Once a week is what I aim for. I talk about gender and sexuality and film, art, creativity. That's kinda my umbrella of topics at the moment. If you want to see more stuff like this, please let me know in the comments or like it. If you want to see more of me, maybe subscribe or think about it. It's up to you. Anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'm going to finish my iced tea, which only has a little bit of ice left, and go inside because there's no AC on the porch and it's very, very warm out. Thanks for watching.